I just don't want to create a theology that insulates us from the obvious need to seek the healer for the healing.
A phrase somebody thought you might have said is, "I refuse to create a theology that allows for sickness." And so if I have ongoing sickness, that's like, what do you mean by that? Is this my fault? So maybe you can just speak to that. What are you trying to say with that sentence? What are you not trying to say with that idea?
What I'm not saying is that if somebody's sick, they've got sin in their life, or they have no faith, or their theology is bad, or any of those things could be true, but it's not an automatic. And it's never a statement. I never would make a statement like that to pin somebody, to confront somebody, or to expose them or shame them in any way. It's a personal statement that I am not going to allow in my world sickness to be equal with suffering for the Lord. I'm not going to deify it. I'm not going to sanctify sickness as having this divine role. Can God use it? My goodness, he can use everything. Yeah. He can use my stupid choices, to teach me and train me and advance me in the kingdom. He can win with anything.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't mean he designed it. And I won't sanctify sickness in that sense, that I say, God gave it to me to make me a better, to learn suffering or whatever. Well, if he gave it to me, why do I go to the doctor? I'm warring against what he gave me then. We've got to think through these things because they're not treated that way in Scripture. Jesus never once came to somebody and said, man, it's just not time. You need to walk in this pain or this blindness or whatever. Another year or so and you'll be ready. Yeah. He just never did that. Yeah. We do that, but he didn't do that. Yeah. And so I'm trying to respect what I think he respected. I'm trying to honor what I think he honored, and just not make spiritual a disease. Let's call it for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, God can use it, but it's not his design.
Yeah,
that's all.
I think you said sometimes I'll talk about it like suffering isn't a virtue.
Yes,
and you can go through suffering with virtue.
Yes,
with the hand of the Lord, with walking hand in hand. But when we embrace suffering as a virtue, that invites all sorts of brokenness, and stamps the approval of God on it.
Yeah,
and it's really a dangerous place to be. So that's what you're trying to say. Is like
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like if I see sickness as my chance to suffer for Jesus, where do I have liberty to pursue healing? Because you don't want to violate the work he's doing in you.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just that tension is never addressed in Jesus' life, and that's why I have to approach it that way. On the other hand, somebody comes to me in great pain or sickness. It's mercy, mercy, mercy. It's just, let's just try to help them. I mean,
even we see, Paul. It seems like he came to one community who said he was weak. He doesn't quite explicitly say he had a sickness, but he's weak. He's just not thriving, and they didn't beat him up for that. They still respected his message and what he brought to them. And so he was celebrating, like, I came weak, and you guys met me. And then he struggled with Epaphroditus for his friend in prayer, and then finally says, "Then the Lord had mercy."
Exactly.
And spared me from this grief. And so we see Paul having to kind of wrestle through, continue in prayer, but then he got the breakthrough in the sickness and was really grateful for it.
Yeah, there was only one target, and that was the health of his friend. Yeah, and that's the target. And I just don't want to create a theology that insulates us from the obvious need to seek the healer for the healing. In the same way, I would seek the forgiver.
Say that again. So you don't want to create a theology that insulates us or keeps us from the need.
Deadens me from my awareness that I've got to go to Jesus to be healed. Yeah. In the same way, I've got to go to Jesus to be forgiven. I've got to, I need help with relationship or with finances or whatever it might be. I'm going to go to him with these things. And I don't want this, what I consider to be a false narrative, a false theology that insulates me from my awareness of the need and privilege to go to him.
And we kind of get back to that idea that Jesus is perfect theology again, is just that when we see in the life of Jesus, he makes no case for this is character building, stay a little longer, and that he heals everybody who comes to him that we see in Scripture. So that's like, we go like, if that's what his role was, that's what we embrace as well.
Right, right. He didn't heal everyone who was sick in that day.
No,
because we see
the guy they walked by,
the gate beautiful. He's there for how many years, and
everybody at the pool of Siloam except the one guy.
Yeah. So it's not like Shazam. Everybody's well now. It wasn't that. It's a relational journey. Yeah. It's the people who came to him. It's the people he connected with. It's it's blind Bartimaeus in the back of the crowd yelling out for help. It's this relational journey where he responded in mercy, and to me that's the beautiful picture. Is it's him being moved with compassion for people in his journey.